Welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. We have an exciting show tonight. We have an amazing guest. His name is Johnny Nalbandian. He is running for U.S. Congress against one of the most prolific and corrupt politicians of our time, Adam Schiff. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
You know what? I am excited to be on your show, and I'm loving this format that you have right now, and I am doing great. Excited about the campaign, excited about winning the primary,
yes,
and going into good old November.
Right. So now tell us a little bit about yourself. I know, you are a bona fide citizen of the United States of America. You love this country. You support President Donald Trump. You are, a Californian through and through. You're passionate. You're in the land of the leftists in LA. Tell us a little bit about your race, where you're at, who you're up against, and all about that. Tell us a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, I was born in New Jersey, USA.
Mm-hmm.
My parents came here in 1944, ran away from Stalinist regime of Russia.
Right.
And there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't hear about how bad communism and socialism is.
Right.
And in fact, just a quick little story here. My dad, when he got to New Jersey, 3 days later, my uncle who worked for Kodak, if you all remember Kodak, he said, "Brom, please take me to the federal building." And my dad goes to the federal building, sees an American flag, looks at the stem, goes down, kisses the stem first, gets up, hugs the flag, then he looks up and he salutes the flag. And then he walks in, he says, "Now, I'm an American, I'm a master welder," and that man welded for free and taught other welders, apprentices, how to weld for the war effort.
Wow.
All the way till the end of World War II.
So he really had the desire within him to end, as he saw it, put an end to the communist reign and the oppression of his people from abroad, from America.
They went through, Erin, a lot to get here. The last 2 years before, they lived in Bombay, India, on their way here. Remember, we're talking 1942.
Right. It's a long, arduous travel.
Then later on in years, he went into the steel business and then the meat industry, both.
Right.
And my dad was a hard worker. He's kind of like, I kind of take after him and my mom, both of them. Were very hard workers. When I was born in the 50s, they had a mom and pop grocery store in Garfield, New Jersey. A wonderful American town that is old America, that it was just such a beautiful place for me to grow up.
Right.
And then we came to California in the early 60s. And we settled in Los Angeles.
Now, it was the golden state of California at that point.
It was paradise, Erin.
Right.
It was really paradise when we got here. Look, I lived in the three best parts of Hollywood, and they all happen to be my district. I grew up in my
That's where you grew up, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I'll put it to you this way. When we first got here, we lived in West LA, West Hollywood area. Near Fairfax and Beverly.
Right.
Then we lived in Los Feliz area, which happens to be my favorite. I live kind of near there right now.
Right.
And then we lived in Central Hollywood. And boy, have I seen things deteriorate.
Right.
And by the way, when we got here, this was a pure red state. Pure red. And let me fast forward to the 80s now. I worked for the Reagan campaign.
Right.
I worked for the Deukmejian campaign, who happens to be American Armenian like me, another one of my childhood heroes, one of the best governors California ever had. And then I also worked for the Trump campaign. Now, for all of these campaigns, except for the Deukmejian one, all of them I was the seafood industry liaison. or coalition leader.
Right. Now let's
Yeah.
back up a little bit for the listeners who are just now tuning in, or who may not know much about you. Who we have on with us right now, my guest is Johnny Nalbandian. He is known as the seafood giant. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that, but he has a background that's just amazing. He's an all-American man. He's running for U.S. Congress against Adam Schiff, and he has a lot of experience. Seeing California what it was to now what it is, he just has this desire to restore his golden state and be a leader in Congress. So, Johnny, why don't you tell them a little bit more about your business background? Because I just wanted to catch people up in case they weren't aware of who you are and haven't read about you.
And like I said, I was seafood industry liaison for these 3 campaigns.
Right.
So, my specialty, I've been in every side of the food industry,
right.
But my specialty is seafood. And my main feather in my cap is having the Tiffany's of the seafood industry distribution company. We were a distribution company that I started at 19 years old. We started with a little retail store.
Just a young man, that's wonderful.
In Sherman Oaks, California. And we built it up. We went from 0, and remember, I'm at 19 years old.
Right.
Okay. My high school schedule, Erin, was like 11th grade and 12th grade. I'd work 10 at night to 7 in the morning. Excuse me, this might sound funny, but what you see, folks, is what you get.
Seafood giant. What you see, folks, is what you get.
Were doing pee-pee in their bed. I was out growing groceries. I became the youngest 3rd manager in Food Giant history. It was a chain called Food Giant Markets, 57 stores. Anyway,
that's just
going
amazing.
On fast forward, I always wanted my own business. I was actually supposed to go into politics then. My family had a major depression, so I decided politics can wait for another day. Because
Right.
I've loved politics, believe it or not, since 5 years old in New Jersey. And moving forward, when we went to when we were I lost myself. Jesus.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. You were talking about how you were working with these campaigns. You brought yourself up, and you wanted to go into politics, but you ended up really in business, trying to help your family. You know?
Well, here's what happened. My family went into a depression, so I decided this family will never see this day again. When I say a depression, we lost a sister to multiple sclerosis. She was 26 years old.
That's
and a
tough.
major athlete. We couldn't understand it. My father almost jumped in the grave with her, Erin. And I got to tell you, it just destroyed him. It destroyed his business life. So I had to quit my politics. And as I told you, I just absolutely loved American history.
Yes.
I love the founding fathers.
Yes.
I love American politics and also politics of the world, but mostly American. And
Right.
I went into I said, I was supposed to go into politics. I said, let me go into my own business. So how did I get in the seafood business? Seafood fascinated me. And out of all the departments that I worked in the grocery store, my
Right.
favorite department is seafood. And I thought it was the food of the future. So I saved money during my high school years. As soon as I graduated high school, I jumped in.
Right.
I jumped in, and I had like 10 grand. I'll never forget this. And there was a retail fish market on Ventura and Hazeltine in Sherman Oaks that was bought out by some people that were using it as a front for a
Really?
gambling. You know, in those days there wasn't internet gambling. So they were like bookies. Anyway, they went broke. The feds went in on them, closed the place. Me, a 19-year-old kid, I go and
An entrepreneur, a man before his time.
Yeah, $5,000. Okay, furniture, fixtures, equipment. It was closed. So now I got $5,000 left to remodel. We did most of the stuff with our own hands. I begged my father to come in and help me out. He did. And in those days, the retail store was called J&J Gourmet. We had delicatessen, we had
Wow.
smoked fish, fresh fish, poultry, any kind of seafood you can think of, any kind of poultry, duck, pheasant, pigeons. I mean, whatever you can think of. We have beautiful deli, which was more Italian style and
Right.
Jewish style deli as well. And we had like wines of the world, gourmet groceries. So
So this was your
plan
first
6
your
months.
first experiment with business for yourself, your own company, and this is Johnny at his start, 19 years old.
Yeah. So 6 months into the business, we were doing so well, but we had a big back room. That store had a big back. I said, you know what? It was part of my business plan to eventually do this, but I didn't know I'd do it so quick. 6 months later, I went and opened a wholesale business.
That's wonderful.
So we were in the middle of Ventura Boulevard, which was Restaurant Row. We had an advantage. The San Fernando Valley was a very big place at the time, and it was growing and growing. And all the seafood companies were downtown,
Right.
and they were also in San Pedro in this area. But we decided that we want to be the Valley's first seafood company. So I opened that, and going on fast forward, from call it middle of 1974, we went into from retail to, we still had our retail store.
Right.
Going from retail to wholesale, it took us a good 2, 3, 4 years. We eventually had all the restaurants on Ventura Boulevard all the way to Calabasas.
Wow.
We went through the valley like Grant went through Richmond. Then in the late 79s, we decided to enter the supermarket industry.
It's
with
wonderful.
supplying supermarkets.
So I mean, what I'm hearing right now, Johnny, is you're a man who's seen opportunity, knows what he wants, seen opportunity, and taken action and made things happen. And this is something that will translate to your U.S. Congress run. That, you're no stranger to adversity, you're no stranger to the opportunities that we have here to us as a nation, and you're going to use your experience to better the nation and to also help
Absolutely.
your
Hey,
district.
Look, we need businessmen in Washington.
We
My
do.
opening statement and video from September, I got into the campaign in the middle of September 2017.
Right.
And one of my opening statements was, I am not a philosopher, I'm not a lawyer,
Right.
and I'm not a politician.
You're a patriot. You're not a politician, you're a
Time for these
patriot.
guys to go home. They're too comfortable. I'm not owned by anybody.
Right.
Look, when I was putting out my signs, I put out all my own signs, okay, after 10 o'clock. My schedule was campaigning from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 at night. I would take a break. This is 2 months before the June election.
Right.
Take a break from 9 to 10. Then I'd go. My car would be loaded with all our signs. We put up 1,000 pole signs,
Right.
okay, on the poles. We put up 300 yard signs all over the place. I was climbing on freeways in the middle of the night.
Oh, Johnny.
And so,
So,
but my
so
point
you
is
had
this.
a busy schedule. Now, for those of us who are, again, just joining us, this is Johnny Nalbandian. He is running against Adam Schiff in the deepest part of the swamp of California. He is in LA. He is fighting the good fight. He's telling us right now about his campaign, about the hard work running up to the June primary. And Johnny, can you just tell me, I mean, it sounds like you did a lot of footwork and a lot of canvassing your neighborhood. But can you tell me what you see going forward as we come towards November? you'd mentioned to me earlier in our pre-interview something about Adam Schiff getting so many votes and perhaps some voter fraud going on, and the guy who was skimming off some votes on the top, that you want to try to capture those votes, that your goal is to really help the people. So can you tell us a little bit more about going forward?
Yeah, well, right now Adam Schiff's been in office in my district, but he was in other districts before. So
right.
2013, okay? Well, let me tell you something, my friend. And this is something that's very dear to my heart. He has done nothing, and the homeless have multiplied. In that district's up 75%. Plus, he has done nothing for the young families that are starting out. Actually, whoever I run into and they say to me, man, convince me to vote for you. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I says, here's a beautiful question for you, and please, if you can answer it, what has he done the last 8 years when they had a Democrat in the White House, when he could have done a lot? And he takes some false deals. For example, in the American Armenian diaspora, you hear him out there toting, recognize the genocide. He comes around once a year, marches with our people, gets up on the stage.
A photo op.
Yeah, he's an opportunist. He gets up on the stage, he says a couple of words in Armenian, which somebody taught him, and it's usually the same words, but this last year he changed a little bit. And then he goes away, and you don't see him till next April 24th.
Right.
Okay?
So don't you think that the people that you're speaking to, I know I was running for U.S. Senate, I'm running again, I was running against Dianne Feinstein, I'm running against Kamala Harris now. Don't you think that the American people, and especially, like you said, you have a large Armenian population, you yourself have an Armenian, you're an Armenian American, as you've said, the Armenian population.
American Armenian. I always use American first.
Okay, American Armenian. But don't you think that the population, the people are smart enough to really see through the politicians who just come in there and try to take that photo op? I mean, I have a background, my family is Jewish. I've told you this. I have a heart for the Armenians. I have a heart for the Jewish people. I have a heart for all people because they have these experiences where, America is the last stand for those people who've been suffering across the globe. And we are the land of opportunity. People need to come here legally, and you can do anything with your life. But the people like Adam Schiff, who merely use, a population, a demographic, use identity politics to try to, corner the market on a voter base, don't you think that Americans are smarter to see past that? I mean, isn't that what you're seeing? But when you talk to these Democrats and say, hey,
Erin,
vote for
I
Johnny.
understand something, and I'm going to tell you this. I can't understand. I'm going to talk about my tribe first, okay?
Oh, yes.
I don't know how one Armenian could vote Democrat. Now, let me go to your tribe. I don't know how one Jewish person could vote for a Democrat, okay? Everything we stand for, we are conservative.
Christians, Jews,
the Jewish
Catholics.
people are great conservatives. The Armenians are great conservatives. But some of them have been hypnotized by these lunatics at the mainstream media. And you've often heard me say this when you were on my show. The biggest poison to this country is the mainstream media.
Right.
They just want us to hate each other, fight
divide, divide.
Settled down until Obama got in office. And this guy really wanted to see in the Marxist manifesto, they love turning rich against poor, poor against rich.
Right.
Mexicans against Americans, Armenians against this one against that one, because it gains them power.
They can leverage. Where there's divide, they can conquer.
But, for example, and this goes for both Holocaust survivors and Armenian genocide survivors, how can you give one vote to any Democrat? Look, just the Clinton Foundation has gotten millions from the Turkish government. Okay? And they've never been on the side of our people. They say they are.
Right.
And the same thing I see with the Jewish people. For example, how many presidents did we go through? And Obama, you know, was no fan of Israel. How many
Right.
presidents did we go through until they took the capital to Jerusalem?
Exactly.
How many? Think
Exactly.
about it. They all said they were going to do it. Okay?
It's a talking
But they
point.
did not.
It's a talking point,
So how
and
could they vote?
that needs to stop. So now, Johnny, so your response from these Democrats, how has it been? Is it warm for the most part, or does it depend on where you're at in your district?
I'm sorry?
The Democrats
repeat
that you're
that question.
speaking to, you know, the Democrats that you're speaking to, because earlier we were talking about, you know, those people who are Armenians in your district, but you had mentioned that you were talking to Democrats and asking them, you know, to vote for you, and what is their response? Does it depend on where
I
you're
got to
at?
tell you this. There's one lady. I'm going to talk about a progressive first, then I'll go to the main Democrats. Let's call it moderate Democrats.
Right.
A lady comes up to me in front of Gelson's Market on Hyperion, and
Right.
I says, and my pitch is, hi, I'm Johnny. I'm running for United States Congress. I give him one of my flyers. I sure would love to have your support.
Right.
The lady looks at me, smiles. She says, you know, you seem like a beautiful man. She said, but I can't vote for you. So I stick my paws up in the air. I say, why not? I'm a nice guy, you know, and I
Yeah.
got great policies.
Right.
She says, well, you are a mean, you're probably a member of the mean Republican Party.
A mean
I said,
Republican
a
Party.
constitutional conservative running as a Republican, okay?
Right.
And so she says to me, she said, I'm a progressive, all proud, like it's the thing to be, okay? I'm a progressive. So I says, oh, you love free college. And she says to me, yeah, I want everybody to have an education. I says, I love free college too. But tell me something. After you prove to me how to pay for it and make me love it, how do you pay for it?
Right.
They don't know. Okay. So
The
that lady
government cannot
said,
fund
I already
something that
sent in
it
my
doesn't take
ballot
from
for
somebody
the-
else. Go ahead.
She said, this lady said, I already sent in my ballot for the election,
Right.
for the June election, okay? But she says, I'm going to take a strong, hard look at you in November. You've got a point. You got to talk to people out there. Now,
Right.
let's go to the
Absolutely.
moderate Democrats. The moderate Democrats that are out there, hey, one of my guys, one of the moderate Democrats was my master of ceremony on my election night.
That's
when we had
wonderful.
that party, we had that party at the seafood restaurant. You know, we had a big party, and
Right.
I chose him to be master of ceremonies. And he got up there. He said, I was a lifelong Democrat till Johnny came along. He's put some major sense in my head. And so, what has happened? The moderates, they're more, they're more focused.
Right.
They're embarrassed to what the leftist lunatics are doing right now. Attacking
Some people call them
this,
loony
that.
left. Yes.
So we've got a good chance, Erin, the next 2.5 months to win a lot of people over.
Right. We have to get out the vote. I think this is evidence. Now, for those people just joining us, this is Johnny Nalbandian. He is running against Adam Schiff in one of the most liberal progressive left areas of LA. He is really fighting the good fight. If you know people that can vote for Johnny, that live in the area that his district covers, please call them, talk to your family members, talk to your friends, and spread the message about his campaign, because I think this is it, Johnny, is you have to talk to people. You have to get out that vote.
Well, I'd like to add one thing to that. When you say
Yes.
the most liberal, over and above that, he is the major president of the President Donald Trump Obstructionist Club.
He is.
And Brad Sherman's the vice president, and Maxine Waters the loudmouth secretary. And I got to
Right.
tell you, like he said, next Thursday, I'm going to bring proof out, and it's going to be over for Trump. Well, let's see. 5 days have passed since last Thursday.
Right.
I still don't see anything.
Right.
But
they don't have anything
this guy
against
has
Donald
gotta
Trump.
Go. We have got to team up together.
Right.
Fellow patriots, fellow America First candidates. Time to team up, and let's beat these guys. We could beat them.
We will beat them, but we have to be unified.
The '88 Dodgers, they were a Cinderella team. We could be a Cinderella unified Cinderella team as well.
Right, right. Well, now, Johnny, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You are a beacon of hope, knowing that you are out there fighting the good fight against Adam Schiff in one of the most liberal areas. You know, a man who's just has his aim and his target right on Donald Trump's head, and trying to just take him down and take him out in the U.S. Congress. You want to go in there. You want to do good things for the country, for your district, and stand side by side with President Donald Trump in the America First agenda. Could you please just, in a short clip, tell us, you know, what some of your policies are, where people can find out more about your platform, your website, and that?
I'd like people to register. You can go onto my website. Register takes 3 minutes. A lot of people are lazy. They wait till the last minute. Now, you can go onto my website, www.votejohnny.us. And Johnny is spelled JOHNNY.US. That's www.votejohnny.us. We have a wonderful website. In fact, we're the only website in any campaign that has seafood recipes on it. And those are, I was known as Mr. Seafood for the last many decades. I was on radio and television representing the seafood industry.
So, okay, so they can go ahead and go to your website. Ladies and gentlemen, we really need you to also contribute, volunteer for his campaign, make phone calls, walk the precincts as it comes closer in November, and help Johnny get out that vote. Thank you again, Johnny, for coming on the show.
Well,
and I'd
like to add one thing, if I may.
Of
When
course.
you go onto my website, go over there and check out our Helping Our Families section. That is very important to me. And the other thing is important to me, one of my new taglines is, I will be the small business champion. Economy, helping families. And what I mean by helping families, no handouts. I'm talking about creating entrepreneurs, creating people getting their own business. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Johnny, for coming on the show.
And
God bless you.
God bless our America, right?
Yes. Amen. All right. Thank you.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.